Michael Vrabel. He's back, baby. And in this video, I'm not going to give you a ton of information. I'm going to give you a ton of opinion, which is what I feel most comfortable doing. So Mike Vrabel, as of 10:30 on a Sunday, playoff wildcard Sunday, and the Patriots are making moves, Mike Vrabel, how many times can I say his name, has been hired as the Patriots head coach. After however many years with the Tennessee Titans, he was fired by them, and he spent this year doing what? Twiddling his thumbs, playing pinball in his basement? I have no idea what he was up to. He could very well have been studying playbooks. I don't know. But he had a year off, at least from the NFL. And the Patriots have now hired him 1 year after hiring a new head coach. So let's start there. Again, this is not going to be flashy graphics, updates, info. This is going to be just my opinion on the situation, which ultimately I do believe is a good thing. I believe this hire is good, but I want to talk first about Jerod Mayo, who I believe, I don't want to say wrongfully terminated, because I understand I am 1,500 miles away from Gillette Stadium, from Foxborough. I have no idea what goes on behind those walls with Robert Kraft, although allegedly there are some things going on behind some walls with Robert Kraft, mind you. It's a massage. Never mind. But I will say this. Again, this is coming from a place of maybe ignorance. I think Jerod Mayo was wrongfully terminated this year. That's aggressive. And again, I don't know what happens. Here's my stance. I do not like when coaches are in objectively bad situations. Like, hey, we are going and if Jerod Mayo was in charge of the Jacoby Brissett at the start of the season, like that's where I believe truly. That's where I believe the Patriots' downfall was this year, was beginning the year with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is not a guy who gives you a chance to win, a chance to compete with Miami, with New York, with Buffalo in that division. Jacoby Brissett is a really solid NFL backup. Jacoby Brissett had a time with the Colts where he was relevant enough that he could compete with a bad division. The AFC East is not a bad division. And while I don't think Drake May as a rookie was going to walk in and win you the AFC East, the positive that you get from giving Drake May experience in this league, which is what every rookie QB really needs. I mean, it's kind of like the Colts with Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco, but I think Joe Flacco gave the Colts a better chance to win in the short term than Jacoby Brissett gave the Patriots in the short term. So I think the Jacoby Brissett mistake, and I'll call it a mistake, starting him at the start of the year for 3 or 4 games, I believe that was the Patriots' downfall, the beginning of the end. They didn't get off to a start that was respectable. If Jerod Mayo was the final call on starting Jacoby Brissett, fine, fire him, whatever. If he's not fully culpable for Jacoby Brissett beginning the year as the Patriots starting QB, I think he was wrongfully terminated. That's my stance. Again, neglecting anything that could have gone on behind those walls that I am unaware of. I don't know what the culture was like under Jerod Mayo. I don't know what players thought of him. I don't know what the umbrella of staff thought of Jerod Mayo. But you're not going to replace Bill Belichick in a year. You're going from arguably the top NFL coach of all time, at least top 3, without a doubt top 5, who created a dynasty, who won Super Bowl after Super Bowl. He leaves. The next guy is going to pale in comparison to Bill Belichick, period. So I don't know what the Patriots expected in terms of production, but I can tell you that Jacoby Brissett was the wrong move. I knew that going in. I didn't know Drake May was going to be as good as he was, and I would say he was good given the weapons that he had. Name 3 wide receivers for the Patriots. If you do not live on the East Coast and you do not play fantasy football and you're watching this video, comment 3 wide receivers for the Patriots, because you can't do it, because they're irrelevant. Kendrick Booty.
So close.
Demario Douglas, Jalen Polk, and Kendrick Bourne, maybe? Like, these are like the worst receivers in the league. Like they might have the Patriots might have the worst wide receiver core of the 32 teams. So what are you going to do with that? Even if you have the best QB. So Jerod Mayo, if he was responsible for Jacoby Brissett, fine, fire him. But to fire a guy who walks into an awful situation, I'll call it awful situation as far as roster construction goes, walks into an awful situation in a hard division after just firing the best or just retiring the best coach of all time. And you expect him to keep up that level? You're idiots. You're dumb. So that's why I believe we'll start with Jerod Mayo. That's why I believe he was wrongfully terminated after a bad season. Duh, they had a bad season. Of course, like Robert Kraft, you didn't know that you were going to have a bad season? Everyone knew you were going to have a bad season. So they fire him. Mike Vrabel is the best hire possible. And I'll stand on that. And for the same reason that I believe Jerod Mayo's firing was unjust. Again, I don't know all the details, and you may disagree with that. I believe Mike Vrabel's firing in Tennessee is along those same lines. Again, Will Levis isn't the guy. I'm sorry. Will Levis is not the future of the Tennessee Titans. Mike Vrabel did what he could with a team that had no talent. For NFL standards, no talent. He went out and maybe he didn't even go get Calvin Ridley and Hopkins, right? Like that came later. I think coaches often have to coaches and quarterbacks take the blame when the team fails, when it's not always their fault. So Mike Vrabel gets fired from the Titans, which I think is wholly wrong, for the same reason that Mayo's firing is wholly wrong, because a coach can't change everything. However, I think the Patriots profit in a large way. They get a guy who has New England Patriot roots, played there, won Super Bowls there, understands the culture. If there's a guy who can reinstill a smidge of what Bill Belichick was able to instill, I think Mike Vrabel is it. I think a good draft pick. Now, it's not the best draft pick because the Patriots won in Week 18, which a lot of fans are upset about, but a good draft pick nonetheless to hopefully add some weapons or some protection for Drake May. I think Drake May is the future of this team. He will never be Tom Brady, but Drake May will be. I think Drake May will be better than Justin Herbert. He will be Justin Herbert-esque. And I think this is a new beginning for the Patriots. And I think Mike Vrabel understands the culture in the same way that I thought Jerod Mayo would, given his history with the Patriots. But obviously I was incorrect with that. I think Mike Vrabel is a born winner. I believe he and Dan Campbell are similar in terms of their approach to football, their style of orchestrating a team. And we've seen in Detroit what that's done. I'm not saying that in 3 years the Patriots are going to be Super Bowl favorites, have a first-round bye in the AFC playoffs, but I'm saying that if there is a coach out there who's been sitting downstairs watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the last 18 weeks, who can replicate in some way what Dan Campbell has done with the culture of Detroit, I think it's Mike Vrabel. So I'm giving this a high. I'm giving this hire an excellent review, a thumbs up, maybe even a thumb and a half. I'm giving this hire a thumb and a half up. I think it's great for the Patriots. I feel bad for Jerod Mayo, but I think it's great for the Patriots. I think it's great for Mike Vrabel. I think it's great for Drake May. I'm excited to see who they get in the draft. And that's my take on it. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. I think the Patriots have an uphill climb in this division for the next half a decade, but if they can get some weapons and keep shoring up their defense, I think they may be able to give the Bills a semi-run for their money by 2030. At least that's what I'm saying for the end of this video.